Greetings. My name is Maha Guru SGMD, and it's a pleasure to be able to have so many friends join us in this discussion about the legacy of the late great Grandmaster Angel Cabales. As many of you know and have experienced the Cabales Serrata system of Eskrima, I'm sure that each and every one of you have experienced something very unique in a very much individual way. And I think that's true for many of the original first generation students of great Grandmaster Angel Cabales, as well as my generation of students who trained under Angel as well. Just to give you a couple of quick background points about me, I started my training at the age of 15 years old. Of course, my fire was lit way before that because I'm in that over 60 plus category, so no need to go back into how far back in the time. But to make a story shorter, from that point forward, I just became entirely infatuated with all systems of martial arts because of the disciplinary aspects of those arts. One of my first encounters with any legitimate system of martial arts was the Kajukenbo system of martial arts. At the time that I began to observe and study the Kajukenbo system, two of the biggest names in my city at the time was Tony Ramos and also great Grandmaster Reyes Sr, better known as Aleju. Make a long story shorter, those two gentlemen are original students under great Grandmaster Adriano the Emperado. And so they were the top notch representatives in my particular area of Northern California at the time. Other dignitaries who basically had a lot of influence in the Bay Area in Northern California was another very well-known gentleman by the name of Algon Al de Coscos. Folks know him more so by way of his son Mark de Coscos, who later became a film star and a dignitary also within the world of martial arts. But those were my primary initial influences in the world of martial arts. A very tragic incident happened at the age of 16 and a half, and to make even a quicker story shorter, it was a combative issue where I was attacked by multiple attackers. They happened to come from the Kajukenbo constituency. Without going into too many details, that was an experience that inspired me to want to even learn more about the intricacies of the Kajukenbo system. So I went on a mission to basically observe, go to each Kajukenbo school in my area at the time. Even out in the Bay Area, in the outskirts from where I lived, there were many Kempo schools. So I was able to visit many of those schools. And because I didn't have a video camera at the time, my mind was the video camera. And so I was able to ingest many of the intricate aspects or the nucleus of the Kajukenbo system based upon quick awareness and understanding, and to be able to absorb information and to be able to output it again to determine whether it was effective or not. Basically, what I was doing was creating a counter system for the Kajukenbo system. No disrespect to all the great dignitaries of Kajukenbo. But that kind of gives you a background somewhat of where I'm coming from. My first official instructor in the world of martial arts was great Grand Professor John K. Wong. John K. Wong is the founder of a system known as Wuxing Tai Chi Chuan. And to make a connection with the Kajukenbo and the Tai Chi Chuan as was taught by John K. Wong, Professor Wong at one point was also one of the right-hand men of great Grand Professor Adriano Emperado. And he held the official Kajukenbo stamp which either elevated or didn't elevate all those who had transitioned into black belt status under the Kajukenbo system. And so he was a pretty heavy cat in his own right. But he had other ties in the world of martial arts, especially in the area of Lua, the Hawaiian arts, and so forth. He was very deep into history, philosophy, the psychosomatic aspects of martial arts. And to make a story shorter, these are the things that he had transitioned over to me. And so I was able to incorporate a lot of those fundamental aspects of Wushin Tai Chi into my training later when I started studying under great Grandmaster Angel Cabales. My next big influence in the world of pugilism was a gentleman who is a former boxing champion from Mexico City. His name is Jesse Lopez Sr. And our connection began by way of his brothers. His brothers became my students, two of his brothers, Jose and Eduardo. And so I began to teach them all these aspects of how to combine the feet into their art in order to become more effective, not only with the hands, but also with the feet. So I guess you could say it was an eclectic method of kickboxing that they were being taught by me personally. Essentially, one day they came to me and they said that their older brother, Jesse Lopez Sr., didn't have very much faith in the systems of martial arts, karate, Kajukenbo, Kempo, didn't matter what it was. And they also further explained to me that their brother no longer wanted them to train under me in my kickboxing style of martial arts. And so, of course, I was pretty alarmed about that. I said, hey, what's going on? Why is he does not want you to learn how to use your feet, your knees, your elbows, and become a more well-rounded fighter? And Jose, Armando, Eduardo, they told me basically that he had studied their older brother, Kajukenbo, at one point under great Grandmaster Reyes' auspices in his school. And he obviously was sparring with one of the students one day, and he said he hit him so hard with an overhand right boxing type of strike that he thought he almost killed the gentleman. So at that particular point, I think he came to the conclusion that martial arts was not that effective in terms of self-defense or even in the sport arena of boxing. He felt that a boxer could overtake a martial artist at will. So once they explained that to me, I said, well, you think you can set up a meeting between me and Jesse Lopez Sr., your older brother? And they said, sure, we can do that. And so basically about 2 days later, I went over to Jesse Lopez Sr.'s home. He had a little boxing gym set up in his garage, speed bag, heavy bag, all the stuff that you would need in order to become proficient in the fine art of boxing. And he had that kind of skeptical look in his eyes, like the old boxing trainers you might see in a Rocky movie, Mick, for example. They just don't believe in too much. They know what they know. And so he didn't really feel that, I was going to be able to overcome his particular system of boxing. So what he did was he asked me to spar with Armando, Eduardo, his brother, third to the oldest brother. And so, of course, I was more than willing to do that. So we went out into his backyard. Armando and I squared off. Make a long story short, I timed him really well, hit him with a spinning back kick to the sternum or the solar plex area, knocked all the air out of his body and dropped him right there. From that point forward, Jesse Lopez Sr. was extremely impressed with the fact of how I was able to use my feet so efficiently. So we struck a agreement. You teach me boxing, how to use the hands in terms of combat in the ring and out of the ring, and I in turn will show you my method of kicking and my system of eclectic martial arts. And so that was my other biggest influence in the world of martial arts. So from there, I was able to actually do kumite matches against many of the Kajukenbo people that had jumped me in the street a couple of years before. And everything that I used on them was effective. It worked. And so yeah, I guess I began to build somewhat of a reputation as a fighter. And, that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. That's good if you know that your skills have basically come up to par to where you know you can use them and you have total confidence in what you're doing. And so it's bad because it builds up a reputation for gunners or challengers. And so I was, basically challenged on many occasions. And what most of those occasions I came out pretty much on top. My biggest influence, I like to say, in the world of contrapuntal